I'm Claudia Catania, and you're listening to Playing on Air. We're about to hear The Burial Society by Susan Sandler. The Burial Society takes place at a memorial service for a former Yiddish theater star. But this short play takes place in 1989, and the heyday of theater performed in Yiddish is long since over. As the play opens, Bella Balanska, a former Yiddish theater star, is waiting at the memorial service with her husband Al to speak. Bella is played by Meara. Al is played by Jerry Stiller. George Morfogen plays Meara. Playing on Air is honored to reshare the work of this all-star cast, the members of whom have passed away since Burial Society's recording in 2011.
Do me.
Not now.
I'm begging you. Do me, darling. Do my shoulders. Do me.
It's about to start.
What do I care? I'm dying here. I need the magic fingers.
You can't wait till we get home?
We'll never get home. This is going to be an epic. They're starting with Meyer, poor soul. He forgets where he is. He goes into his yiddle mit a fiddle. We're here till next week.
Everybody gets 2 minutes. That's the deal. Shh, shh, shh.
The faces, the faces. Oi, the faces. I look at you all as far as my eyes will take me. Who is here? Who is gone? So many years we dreamed together. What does it add up? Huh? You give, you work, you love, and one day you look around and nobody is there. We are forgotten. The theater is empty, the lights are dark, and only you, my Yiddler, are left singing yourselves to sleep.
Tops 5 minutes. They pull them off, they go over 5.
That'll be the day. You got Yiddish actors in front of a live audience. It's not a memorial service. It's a matinee. Come on, do me.
All right.
That's good. That's good. Now she'll get her star in front of the 2nd Avenue Deli.
Of course. What else?
For what? A hanger-on. All her life she's playing minor characters. One National Cottage Cheese commercial. Suddenly, she's a diva.
Shh, relax.
What was she before she met Ben? A curva, a whore. He brought her to rehearsals in Warsaw. First she's making the tea, then she's handling the props. Next thing, she's got a few lines. Believe me, before Ben, she never was inside a theater. In Poland, she was garbage, plain and simple.
It's history, Bella. What are you scratching up the dirt? She's dead. She's not a threat to you. She's not going to take your parts no more.
How dare you? How dare you compare her to me? How dare you suggest she was ever my equal in anything?
Pshaw. I'm sorry. Bella, please, I never said that. I'm just saying show some respect. It's over.
Take my parts. You said she took my parts. What parts?
I don't know.
What parts?
What does it matter? Shane verfallen. What's done is done.
What parts?
Personally, my opinion, you would have been a better Rachel than the Golem. One man's opinion. What do I know?
I never wanted Rachel. Gibran is the role. I'm not a line counter, Al. You never seen me count lines. It's the complications I love. The character has twists and turns and a life inside bigger than the lines. This is what makes great acting and great actors. Don't make me break my arm patting myself. Ben gave me the role because he knew only Bella could find the depth, the experience, the heartache to fulfill the character of Gibran. The little prop girl wouldn't know where to begin.
Yes, but a seamstress with whooping cough And the character didn't even have a name until you gave it to her.
What are you draying me with this garbage? You put my career next to her career, role by role, year by year. It's no contest. When she first joined the company, I swear to God, she would beg to sit in and watch me rehearse. One night, I found her in my dressing room polishing my boots for the wedding feast.
She was Gertie, no?
I'm telling you, she was polishing my boots. She said, I'm not worthy to be on the same stage with you, Bella. Please let me do something to show my humility. So I let her polish. Meanwhile, she's asking me, how would Gertie say this line? What should Gertie's reaction be here? And I'm giving her everything, line by line. That review she got in the Forvitz, it should have read, a heartbreaking performance by Hanna Zolewska, but created by Bella Balanka.
She was a very good Gertie. She made me cry. When her father throws her out of the house, I felt such emotions. This poor lost creature torn between her love and her family, a black sin hanging over her like a curse from beyond.
A curse? You want to hear a curse? She took the lines from me, Al, one by one. She polished my boots, she listened, she learned, she sucked it from me, all I had to give. What she became, it was me. And how she repaid me, huh? How you both repaid me.
What? What are you talking?
You think I don't know?
What?
You think I'm such a fool?
What are you saying?
The summer of '55, the mountains. You're playing Fishbein the Banker. She's the Rebbitzin. Then I see you're bringing her all the extra puddings every night at dinner. I'm watching and I'm thinking, what's going on? Then I see you in the trailer behind the handball court, like animals. Once a whore, always a whore.
Bella, it was centuries ago. You know how it was. I had a certain glamour, a following. They would line up after every performance. The girls, the women in the audience, they would stuff my pockets with perfumed letters, photographs, marriage proposals scribbled on the back of programs. It made me dizzy. What can I say?
Everyone knew about you and Hannah. Everyone.
No one knew. It was one time. I was weak. I was tempted. It was one time.
You were more than tempted. You had your fill. It was every goddamn night. Every time you could get away from me.
Bella, look at me. Look at me. 65 years ain't bupkis, baby. It adds up. I made mistakes, but I always loved the right woman.
We'll never know.
Bella, Meyer's finished. You're next.
When the history books record the last of the Yiddish theater, there will be many actors with glorious careers to remember. But one woman was held in the arms of her audiences with a special tenderness and a love that was like the love of a family for its favorite daughter. And I am speaking of Hanna Zolewska, an actress and a friend whose terrible loss we all feel today. She brought Yiddishkeit, Jewish heart, from her humble beginnings in Poland to her magnificent performances on the Yiddish stage, to the international stage of television, where her famous words won America's hearts. Hey, Frankie, if it's not Breakstone, it's not cottage cheese.
That was The Burial Society by Susan Sandler. You heard Ann Meara as Bella Balanska, Jerry Stiller as Al, George Morfogen as Meyer, and David Margulies as the stage manager. Susan. It's so nice to have you.
Thank you so much.
You know, this play obviously is the characters are all former Yiddish theater actors, perchance stars. So can you give us a little rundown about what the Yiddish theater is, or what it was, and who Bella and Al would have been?
It was largely in New York. It was all about the wonderful influx of immigrants to New York. Some of the actors that created this theater came via Paris, via Berlin, via London, and started this movement that spoke to a kind of immigrant population that needed a place for their stories to collect. And ultimately, when another layer of artists arrived, it rose up to a kind of higher level of theater, a very, not just entertainment, not broad vaudeville and broad musical theater and broad comedy, but a kind of real demanding art form. Was reviewed in the New York Times by major critics and really embraced as very important theater. So it had this broad spectrum of experience.
Of high and low, so to speak.
Yes. My introduction to this world came through my grandmother, my bubby. And she talked about the Yiddish theater and the whole event of the Yiddish theater, which was not just going to the theater for a performance. It was going to the theater with a shopping bag full of food that began in the morning, and it was an all-day epic event of theater going. Theater was part of the lifeblood of this community.
So when she would go to the theater, how long would she be in that seat?
Perhaps 6 or 7 hours, and that's why people brought their own
Whoa.
lunch and dinner. I mean, it was...
It's more than one play.
Yeah, it was the sense of an urban country fair, in the sense of one play following another, following a vaudeville event. There was this, complete buffet of events that people would go to. And out of that, I began to have a curiosity about that world. When I was in school, I did a paper on the Yiddish theater, and I wanted to visit what I found, which was the Hebrew Actors Union, this very exotic building on the Lower East Side, which was kind of the equivalent of the Friars Club for Yiddish actors. It was a place where Yiddish actors hung out, told their great stories, relived their parts, acted for each other, dreamed with each other, and I caught just a glimpse of it in that little visit, and that haunted me forever. And we were casting Crossing Delancey, the film. I got to meet people that were still in that universe, and out of that, I kind of entered that world in a very real way.
Were most of those actors Eastern European born?
Absolutely. And came from the Polish theater, which was where it lived most vitally. So that led me to thinking about these characters, and Bella and her husband were born out of that. I went to a memorial service. It was an occasion for great celebration of the life and times of the artist, but it was also an occasion for great celebration of everyone who attended, because it was a stage. It was in a memorial chapel, but it looked like a stage. It wanted to be a stage. It became a stage, and it inspired this piece.
And do you think a lot of the early American vaudeville and the early musicals were, in a sense, descendants of this Yiddish theater?
Absolutely. Everything. And also the world of very American comedy, which has its roots in Jewish humor. Everyone from Neil Simon to Woody Allen, Sid Caesar, all of these wonderful talents were fed by this stream of humor and humanity, human comedy.
Well, it's had vast influence. And I guess in some ways even Anne and Jerry
Yeah, absolutely.
are descendants of that tradition.
Absolutely.
I was wondering whether the title The Burial Society actually refers to something in particular.
The Burial Society, the word Burial Society, refers to the whole tradition of Jews who moved to New York and formed literally societies where they would put X amount of dollars a week into a savings account that would buy their gravesite and pay for their funeral. And my uncle, who was a garment worker, was in a garment workers' burial society that was related to the town he came from Latvia. And I just learned that the Yiddish Theater Union and the Yiddish Theater Actors have their own literal burial society. This was a title that came not directly from that information at all. It was, it was more of the paradox of that moment. But there is literally one where in this whole section of this cemetery, all these Yiddish theater actors are buried, and people who sold popcorn in the Yiddish theater are buried there, and the lighting people are buried there, and they have wonderful inscriptions on their tombstones that are quotes from their favorite plays. So it has that kind of resonance.
And it really did merge the vaudeville and the music with classical work.
Oh, yes. There was a lot of wonderful, true...
Shakespeare.
Absolutely. Wonderful, powerful Macbeth.
I think there's one Yiddish theater group left.
Yes, the Folkspine.
Well, here's to them.
Yes.
Thanks.
My pleasure.
You've been listening to Playing on Air, great American short plays with great American actors. Original music by Tom Cochan. Recording and sound design by John Kilgore. Associate producer, Julia Wetherell. For more information about our artists and to listen to other short plays, check us out at playingonair.org and find us on Facebook and Twitter. For Playing on Air, I'm series producer and host, Claudia Catania.